This episode is sponsored by Well Balanced Nutrition and 360 Health.
Welcome to the Health Geeks Book Club podcast. Listen in as Kristen, Norton, and Eleanor Russell review all those great health and wellness books you've been wanting to read or you have read and want to talk about. Here's Kristen and Eleanor.
Hello, Health Geeks. We're continuing a conversation that we got started in our last episode. I'm Eleanor.
Kristen here.
And we welcome back Carolyn Bennett Sullivan from Soft Golf and author in her own rights.
And TEDx speaker.
Yes. Ed, you want to tell us a little bit about Soft Golf again?
Sure, absolutely. Soft Golf, for the local listeners, is located at Tanglewood Park in Clemens. It's a full swing golf game using big balls, big clubs, big holes, and it lights up and glows in the dark at night, making it user-friendly, fun, and a unique golf experience.
And if you're not from Clemens, North Carolina, you should fly into Winston-Salem or Greensboro and check it out. It's a fun game. You can only play it here. It is a destination activity.
It absolutely is a destination, and I will proudly say that Soft Golf is a 2-time winner of TripAdvisor's Travelers Award, which means it is considered one of the top 10% destinations in the world.
Wow, I love that.
So well worth a trip to the Triad area, Winston-Salem.
Absolutely.
North Carolina.
And as Health Geeks, we know that having fun is really important to our well-being. And that's how I'm going to flip us over here to another thing that's going to pull us back to Infectious Generosity, the ultimate idea worth sharing, by Chris Anderson, a 2024 book that's published by Crown Publishing, a Penguin Random House. So we got a substantial editor behind this guy. Mm-hmm. Here's an opening quote for you. Whoever you are, the potential for generosity, as we'll discover, is wired deep inside you. Indeed, it's possible that your quest to become a net giver will surprise you with renewed sense of meaning, purpose, and joyful hope. It's who I'm meant to be. Oh, I like that.
I like that too.
I feel really good. Even though I struggle with some of the stuff in this book, I found some things I liked.
Yes, and what we're talking about today is the new logic of generosity and how Chris builds a good argument for why giving matters more than ever right now and how the times we live in make it a really good time to give. And he has some suggestions on how we do that. Are you ready to take control of your health and wellness journey, but don't want to do it alone? Look no further than Well Balanced Nutrition. We offer personalized nutrition and wellness coaching tailored to your unique needs. Our integrative, whole-person approach combines the latest evidence-based practices with compassionate guidance. Whether you're managing health concerns or seeking to optimize your well-being, take the first step towards a healthier, happier you by booking a free 15-minute consult with one of our registered dietitians at wellbalancednutrition.com.
Hey, you know what?
Yeah.
I was saying that I brought you guys something. So I have a little treat
thank
from
you.
me.
Thank you, Eleanor.
I thought I'd be
looks
generous.
yummy.
I was inspired by reading this book. And I wanted to report in that this week I got requests for money, not activity, but money from Ronald McDonald House, American Red Cross, Samaritan Purse, Wounded Warrior, Tunnel to Tower, Hospice, the hospital and the School of Medicine in my local community, Fostering Faith, Miracles in Sight, my church, UNCG, where I went to school. Every time I go to buy food, they want me to donate something at the checkout, and then I go to eat out, and they automatically put a tip on my bill, and then the state and the feds want my taxes as well as the county. So I'm giving a lot already, you guys.
Are those requests that you've received?
Those are requests, and that's just 1 week. So I will say, you all probably get these things too, but once you do a little generous thing, your word gets out, evidently, and then you get barraged. And to me, it is overwhelming because I know how great the need is. And Tim, I think your wife is a Ronald McDonald House
She is.
person. And I have other friends in nonprofit organizations, and I want to give. And it's just, how do you make the decisions? How do you decide what to do? Because it paralyzes most of us, I think, is one of the things that's going on.
Mm-hmm.
And he doesn't really mention that in here, but I think sometimes people do get paralyzed. It's like, I don't know what to do, and so I freeze. Because, that's one of our stress reactions.
I agree. I think it's overwhelming and frustrating that we're asked everywhere we go. And one bit of information I picked up, I guess, in several points in this book is that it's important to have a plan. Mm-hmm. And it's easy to get overwhelmed and be like, oh, well, I need to donate to this at Food Line when I do my groceries, and I need, this charity needs me. But when you have a plan, you can say, well, this is what lines up with my values. This is where I'm going to put my certain percent of money I'm able and willing to donate. And so you can decline those others, but knowing that you are still being generous in the ways that matter to you. Yeah. But you're right. I think one thing I ran into with this book is that there's a cause for everything.
Exactly.
And everybody.
Exactly.
And multiple causes.
Multiple causes, and they're all important.
And they are all important. They all have their own mission and vision. And I think you bring up such an important point, Kristen, in that he talks about having a strategy. What is that strategy?
And
what is that plan?
We've been adverse to connecting those two, generosity and strategy, linking those together as part of what he is introducing to us.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
In this book, yeah.
So with that, because in the latter part of the book, he provides a story of when he was 15 and he felt like he had this moral obligation.
And where was he when he had that?
At church.
Exactly. And he's no longer in church.
No, he's no longer in church. And, I think many people struggle with that same thing. It's like, okay, when you're sitting in your car and there's someone asking for money, do I give them money? Do I not give them money? And then that whole, well,
what are they going to do with it?
What are they going to do with it?
Are they going to buy drugs? Are they really going to use it? Do they really have a kid? Are they really poor? Or are they just sitting here panhandling? Your mind just goes blah, blah, blah.
It absolutely does. Mm-hmm. And then so the question is, okay, if I am concerned about those people who are suffering from homelessness, then what is the best way that I can give? Is it $1 out the door? Or is it, let me create a strategy and a plan as to how my giving can have more
and make the most impact?
But I think what comes into play there is the immediacy versus the delayed response. Mm-hmm. Because the person standing in front of you has the immediate need.
Right.
And that's the struggle that I think the person-to-person thing has. So let's see a little bit more about what Chris. I think we've got some stuff that's going to get addressed here.
Yeah. And if not on this episode, on the next, for sure. Mm-hmm. But let's make the case for why generosity matters now. So he brings up the point that our village, where it used to be just the small people that we know, is now the whole internet.
Yeah, which takes us to the global society conversation, mm-hmm. which is an interesting one.
And so sharing things, like if I wanted to be generous and give you something that maybe you weren't in my community, I would have to mail it out or find some way to get that physically to you. But his point, the second point, is that things are non-material now, that we can just mm-hmm. spread far and wide and for minimal costs. So now I can share ideas, I could share knowledge, all of these things that the internet opens up for us to be able to give.
Even on Zoom during the pandemic, people were able to stay connected digitally with facial recognition, and though you weren't in the presence of each other, you were still in the presence of each mm-hmm. other.
Right.
And that community social, even though it's somewhat interceded by artificial means, meant something. Connection.
Absolutely. So our village is now the whole internet, and Chris Anderson is definitely like hopeful and positive, maybe to the extreme, but I think that's needed, right? Because I was like, well, the internet is a bad place, and he's like, well, Yeah, it can be. But there's also a lot of good to be found there. And then he says, well, I know you're inundated with all this content and you're overwhelmed. And why are we talking about the internet? This is a bad thing. And he's like, well, just because you're in a forest doesn't mean you can't pass up this beautiful tree and appreciate it. I'm like, oh, yeah. He has all of these positive comebacks to the negative things that I was coming up with or that he brought up in the book as I was reading it. And to that point, he had some arguments about what people in general might say about generosity. Like it doesn't count if you were trying to do it to improve your reputation. Do you remember reading about that?
I do, and I thought that was a really interesting point. Go ahead, Eleanor.
But preceding that, though, is what he's advocating for. Okay, when I think of generosity, I think of an anonymity. And he is taking that into discussion that maybe we should be visible in our generosity. And that's another thing I'm not as comfortable with that. I'd like to tease more of that. But if it is public, then your reputation is associated with, oh, there's that person and she did that and I see it.
She only did that to try to get a better reputation. That's what people could say. And Chris is like, no, that's a good thing because then it can inspire other people.
Again, to do the same thing.
To do the same thing. And you're still doing good, right? Whether or not you're doing it for your reputation. And he's like, it doesn't matter. We still want that good in the world. So let it be for whatever reason, or multiple reasons, actually, he says. Because it's also the happiness we get from giving, like you mentioned. And the noble...
Happiness is healthy.
Happiness is healthy. And just because it's a noble act of doing something for someone else, we think, we all know deep down that that's the right thing to do. But he was mentioning his kind of moral concerns that if it didn't come from just a place of goodness and not wanting to be known for it and all that, then it didn't count. And he's come to realize, no, actually,
it does count.
Good is good.
Mm-hmm. Good is good. And to me, though, I struggle with that concept too, Eleanor, in terms of, the being anonymous and doing it for the sake of doing the good. But he brought up some really valid points that kind of changed my perspective on that whole idea.
Mm-hmm. Do you want to talk about the instinct part? Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, you were going to say it's our instinct to be generous, which is what I kind of opened it up with, too. Yeah, he talks about the selfish genes, but doesn't really tell me what they are or where they are.
What he means, exactly.
Yeah, and I don't know that we really have an answer for that. But there is some evolutionary evidence that we are wired for generosity because when we saw the benefit of living in groups and sharing responsibilities, we could survive better. So the benefits of emotion became essential, and those emotions are sympathy for those in need, gratitude for those who have helped us, anger at those who cheat, and then guilt at not doing enough. But all of those together are what kind of move us to the instinct to be generous. There's the benefit to our survival is if we help each other. We're all going to make it. Mm-hmm. That's a concept. And so I think if we can move away some of the barriers, we find that really is what we want to do.
Right.
We want to be the better person. We want to help those in need because by helping you, I actually am helping myself, which is selfish, but it's okay.
But it's okay.
Which is what we were just talking about. If you do good just because you want somebody to see you doing it, that's selfish. But the effect is going to be good for everybody.
It's about net positive.
Yeah,
exactly.
Right. There you go. All right, that's all I need to say about that.
That's cool.
I like that term, Tim. Net positive.
Yeah.
So in that instinct section, he was also saying that it's our instinct to want to respond to generosity. You do something good for me, then I want to do something back. And then that it's our instinct to want to help somebody when we can see that they are like us. So the more human we can make somebody.
Hey, if you're as interested in prevention as I am, contact me, Eleanor Russell, at 360health, number 4, letter U.com. Whether you're interested in financial wellness or physical health products, 360 Health invites you to become part of our community. Do you remember the book Awe? Mm-hmm. We read a book about awe, and one of the things the author spoke to was the crowd effect. You know, that when we all, like at a stadium, we start raising our hands and stand up and do a wave, and how it just spreads. And it feels amazing when everybody's doing it. And you create that and we seek that awe. So I saw a connection to that book here too. Yeah. I actually went back and flipped through it trying to see, did he really address generosity in that book? He spoke about gratitude, which is big in this conversation. Mm-hmm. We have to be grateful, I think, as part of our generous strategy.
Yeah.
So, Eleanor, my question to you is, from a physiological standpoint, what is happening when we're in that type of experience?
I would have to say there's probably a discharge of dopamine, and then the pleasure centers in our brain say, "I want to do that again. Whatever we did, let's do that again because it feels good." It creates a lowered heart rate, a de-stressed response.
Mm-hmm.
So
generosity can actually be heart healthy.
I think. Well, we're stretching as far as data, but yeah.
Yeah.
And the evidence of when we've read these other authors, there is some evidence of people that are happier have longer lives. And so what makes you happy? And if generosity makes you happy, then yeah, there's probably a longevity factor there too.
Because if you're not here to help others, then that goes away too. Yeah. If you're not here to be the positive, then that's by nature negative.
Yeah.
And you're not getting the net positive.
Well, let's go to that experiment that they did.
Yeah, so that what you guys were just saying, I think ties into that. So
the mystery experiment, what was it called?
There's actually two, because he did a little one with his students where he gave them, I think, $1,000. Maybe it was more. That was the smaller one. And I think 6 or 7 18-year-olds took him up on this, and he said you could spend it however you want. And
I thought that was the mystery experiment.
Well, that was the bigger one.
Okay, all right.
This was a mini one he talked about first. And they did things for different charities, and it was life-changing, right, that they remembered that long term. And then the bigger experiment, the mystery experiment, was they gave $10,000 to strangers on the internet.
200. They did 200 people.
200 people.
Yeah, so it's a pretty good number. Mm-hmm. It's not a massive number, but it's a good number.
And it
statistically.
Was truly a gift. They weren't given instructions on what to do with this money.
Yeah, they were. They had to spend it in the next 3 months.
Oh, okay. Good. I didn't remember that.
And at the end of it, they had to report back what it was spent on. Those were the two things.
Okay.
And there were 2 groups. The third group, half of them went to. They had to do it anonymously, kind of quietly, private. They didn't have to.
They didn't have to report back
on social media. The other half had to tell people on social media what they did.
Yes. Okay.
And then the control group got just a little bit of money because they got paid to fill out surveys. Yeah, so they were working for their money.
They were the control group.
Yeah, and as far as I could tell, he never told us what happened to the control group.
That's true, he didn't.
So I thought, I need to know, did they just not give anything away? Or did they? I assume they didn't.
Right.
Because they worked for it, and I'm going to keep it.
Exactly, and that's a theme that was interesting to me. If we're given money, we tend to
treat it differently
than if we earned the money.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because we were the recipient of a generous act.
And yes, like he says, our instinct is to respond to that.
Mm-hmm. So how did they respond?
So they responded by giving away 2/3 of it.
Yeah, 1/3 on wants and needs that they had to cover.
Mm-hmm. Uh-huh.
But the majority of it, 2/3, they gave back. Because to whoever they wanted to. Mm-hmm. Isn't that fun? And was there a difference between the private group and the public group?
Nope.
So there's, Carolyn, I'm back to the anonymity thing, so
If you really don't want to make it known.
it's not going to make a difference, really. So if you want to be anonymous, be anonymous.
And the cool result to me was the generosity and long-term happiness. Now, the people, I don't know if it was in this study or not now that I'm saying this, but at some point in the book, he said that the people who spent the money on themselves were happy immediately, but not in the long run. It wore off. Versus the people that spent it on giving to other people, they were happy both then and later. So it was a longer lasting effect.
Isn't that cool?
It is cool. And I think it speaks to our desire to, I was just thinking of this the other day because I'm like, I need to cut back on my Amazon orders.
Yeah.
How we're like instant gratification
Right.
and we want all of these things. But if we can redirect, we're going to get maybe not that instant, but a longer lasting happiness effect.
Yeah, that materialistic acquisition thing, I think he called it hedonistic adaptation, an insatiable appetite for stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, and what he's saying, Chris Anderson, is suggesting that we're really moving to where we have enough stuff and that the non-material is becoming more important to us. And that's why it can be packaged on the internet in some shape or form, I think.
Good point.
I had a argument with one of our colleagues about AI when it first came out, saying, I hate it, and I'm not in love with AI. But the retort I got back was, you're old school, you need to get over it, it's happening, blah, blah, blah. But that if AI takes over all these stupid things that we are occupying ourselves with now and are afraid that we won't know what to do if the AI is doing it for us, we'll be able to tackle these other kinds of problems and address those greater needs that are out there. And I thought, well, that's something to think about.
That's a lovely point.
If that's the outcome of AI, then I'm thinking, well, maybe I can embrace it a little bit. But again, it's like the internet when it first came out, is it evil or good? And still, there's bad stuff, all sorts of awful things that are transpiring on the internet. People with psychotic ideas can find each other quicker and support each other faster and then create a really negative community. But on the other side, people that want to do something like this can find each other and do something really good to counterbalance that.
Well, speaking of, I won't go deep into it, but speaking of AI, Chris Anderson created TIGG at infectiousgenerosity.org.
You know what that stands for?
No, I don't.
The Infectious Generosity Guru.
Oh, I love it. Okay.
So you're going to talk to an AI guy? You all did. Oh, God.
Oh, but it was adorable. I loved it. So it helps you understand your motivation. So it just asks you what motivates you. And then you can tell it a little bit about yourself, and it helps you discover acts of generosity. It asks you what your values are. So it just walks you through, an activity. And then it's your partner in kind to help you come up with your own ideas and make a plan. And they can be gifts of time, talent, money. I can go into it later, but...
And all of that goes into their database?
And that's okay. I'm okay with that.
Okay, good.
I thought your name was Eleanor, not Nancy.
Yeah.
I may have to change my name. Negative, right?
Yeah, negative names.
Yeah. So, Kristen,
I'm a scientist. I'm skeptical.
That is understandable.
I'd like to talk more about what he talks about in the book, that generosity doesn't need to be monetary, because there may be, I don't know about the rest of you, but I am not a multimillionaire, at least
you're
not
not?
at this point. That may change. So what are some of the ways that he described in the book that we can be generous without it causing stress, in our financial plan?
Well, I think we'll dive into that in a different episode.
Yeah,
gonna
but
dive
just a
into it?
quick response to that from a book that we read called The Telomere Effect, which is all about chromosomes and the ends of them and how long they are to protect the intercellular activities that we've got. They found that friends or a kind connection cause cells to produce less CRP, which is C-reactive protein, which is a marker for inflammation, and protects the telomere ends. So there are ways to look at inflammatory responses. And so just by the act of kindness of a friend calling you up and saying, "How are you doing today?" That's an act of generosity, to take time, because one of the other comments he makes in here is our attention. What we give our attention to has value. And so it's not money, but it is time, and time is a limited commodity. And so we have to make decisions about where we spend our time, and that's how do we give our attention. So I would say any of those very minor things, even a walk in the woods with somebody, or you send somebody a card, things that don't cost a lot of money still have effect. And it's that connection of person to person.
Yeah.
And so we don't have to always think of generosity as money transfer. A lot of times, and volunteering. I came from a family that told me you need to give back. So volunteering started early. I was a candy striper. I've done several things during my career as a volunteer, and that's you just go do something for somebody. I built a house with Habitat. Didn't cost me anything to do that except my time.
Yeah, that's a good point. I'm glad you brought it up, because for the listeners out there, you might be thinking of money only, but no, generous acts
of kindness.
Basically. Yeah, it all counts. Well, I want to talk on this episode about something that really struck me, and it struck me beyond the inspiration to be kind and generous, and that's that you can make your acts ripple into other things. And I think this is the point that he really tries to drive home, that we have the opportunity to not just do a good thing, but to spread that, to make it infectious, and the internet helps us make it go viral. And
do you have an example of that?
I do have an example. In the book, he talks about Mr. Beast,
who I had never heard of.
And I I know that. My kids love Mr. Beast. So I had a quick conversation with my son, Easton, and here's what he said.
So Mr. Beast is this YouTuber that has 400 million subscribers that everyone likes because of his challenges, and he gives away lots of money, and he's been donating some money to give people water in Africa that need it. Yeah, and since more people are seeing his videos, I think more people are getting inspired to do the same thing. So, a lot of people like seeing people smile when they give people stuff, and I think Mr. Beast was doing that the whole time, and now people like to do it because they saw how fun it looked.
Oh, he's really spreading a good trend.
Yeah.
I love that. Thanks for sharing.
You're welcome.
I need a Kleenex.
Yeah.
That's so tender.
You have such a insightful and well-spoken son. I won't even say little boy, because that's not fair to him.
I agree.
Yeah, he is amazing.
And I love that he's inspired by Mr. Beast, because he found a way to make giving fun and entertaining.
He didn't find a way. This guy studied like crazy. Did you read about what he did? He looked at all sorts of clips of stuff and figured out what triggered people into action and what didn't. I mean, that was not just, he spent years.
Yeah, it's all editing and
watching video stuff that people respond to, and then what are the elements in there that make that action. And these are highly designed video clips and a very scientific approach to how he structured his little videos to get the results that your son so adaptly described.
So true. It wasn't on accident.
No, intentional, but for a good reason.
Yeah, and that's what the book wants us to do, is be intentional. And next time we're generous, take it up a notch and find ways to spread it. And that's through emotions, making it fun, just sharing on social media.
Have you watched Mr. Beast?
I cannot say that I have watched Mr. Beast, but I'm going to now.
I hadn't either, and I watched one with a guy losing 50 or 60 pounds. It looked a lot like The Biggest Loser.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, it was interesting. And I saw the amounts of money attached to each one of those things. So here again, my, Nancy Negative is saying, this guy's making a lot of money on this stuff. Now, where is all that money going? And do we really know it's going where he says it's going? And blah, 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 blah.
He gives it away.
Yeah, I know.
He gives a lot of it away.
Yeah.
I mean, and then you see that happening.
You do see it.
Yeah, he's done other videos of him
Implementing it.
And it could be that, you go to the a homeless shelter and, giving away soup or something. And he asks them a question and they answer a question. And he said, here's a little something extra. And it could be $100 bill. So he does. He's 27 years old.
Does he live at home with his parents?
No. He was born in Kansas, but moved to Greenville, North Carolina, where ECU is. And he went to ECU and dropped out, but he's pretty awesome.
Yeah, in the book it says he pledges to give the money that he makes from his YouTube channel away, so it just keeps cycling.
Yeah, I keep trying to figure out how he supports himself.
YouTube. If you have that many followers, you get paid by YouTube.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And then he gives it away each video.
So, so that's what I'm saying. So is he like the kids that got the 10,000? A third of it went to his needs and desires, and the other 2/3 go?
I imagine.
I'm just curious.
I know. I was curious too.
Because, with the floods and all that were happening and all the organizations that were supposed to help the people here in North Carolina, and there was a lot of conversation about a lot of money was given to these organizations. Where did it go? And it ended up being the people in the community were the ones that actually responded with the most significant help. And they're still out there trying to rebuild, and they're being forgotten, which is what happens with every natural disaster is the immediate response. And then these people are going to take years to get out of these things, but the next disaster happens, so you leave them and go to the next one. So, like I said again, the need is great. We all know it's great. Hopefully we'll find our way to reducing the suffering for some of these people. Just one other thing. When someone decides what the need is, it may be different than what the recipient thinks the need is. And so involving the people that have the need in this process is something that Chris Anderson doesn't talk about. At least I didn't hear it in this conversation. It was more like, we know what's best for you, and we're going to figure it out and tell you how it works. We're going to bring the water to your community. Now, I'm hoping there were people that said, we need water. And I think they have in that example. But I think there are so many, there are examples, and I wish I had one to give you right now, where things were, there's a book called Toxic Charity that gives a lot of these examples in it, where organizations have decided what's good for a community. They go in and they spend a lot of money, a lot of time, and they do these things. And as soon as they leave, that community tears that stuff apart and does something else with it, because it's not what they wanted, but they didn't want to offend the people that were bringing it.
Right, so it should be a partnership. It
Exactly.
should be a two-way street.
Yeah, and I didn't hear that a lot in this conversation from Chris. Did you all, as you were reading it?
No.
Yeah, and I think that would improve results maybe, or effectiveness of the giving.
True.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
I just wanted
Good
to say
point. Yeah. Well, I think this is a good time to leave you all with something to try out. I do encourage going to the TIGG AI and playing around with it. It is fun. So based on my responses and values and motivations, for me, it suggested these 4 things at first. I've played with it further, but at first it said family recipe swap meetup, about hosting a laid-back get-together with neighbors and friends where everyone brings a dish along with copies of the recipe.
I might come.
Yeah, I think that would be fun.
I'd love that.
A backyard blanket cinema. Transform your backyard into an open-air cinema. Invite local families for a movie under the stars, and maybe even raise a few bucks for a local charity in the process.
I've got the projector.
I love that these were doable. And then I was feeling very, I don't know if there's a word for it, but I'm an introvert. And I was feeling like I don't have the energy for people for this project. So I said, yeah, that's great, but I'm an introvert, TIGG. And it was like, don't worry, I got you. How you're creative. How about picking a spot in a public place and sprucing it up a little bit? And then it has these things that trigger maybe your next responses. And one of them was, so how can I make this infectious? And so I clicked on that, and it was like, well, you can simply share it to social media, or maybe create a hashtag so that other people can go off what you're doing and do that too.
One of my colleagues died a couple of weeks ago, and at the obituary and the funeral, someone said he used to go over to Tanglewood and clean out the bluebird boxes.
Oh.
And I thought, who's going to do that now? And I might, because he did,
Yeah.
So we'll see. I'll report back.
Please do. So try it out, whether it's TIGG or just thinking about how your generosity can be spread farther. Any final thoughts?
Yeah, you were talking to AI.
All right, Negative Nancy.
I know, and you thought it was a cute guru. It's not. It's just a database of stuff that's been coded in an algorithm.
Eleanor, I think you should open your mind to
That's what everybody tells me.
possibilities of what AI can help us create to make generosity more infectious. So I'll give you an example. My father started a breakfast for the homeless probably 40 years ago in Wilmington, Delaware. And he did that from his heart and initially from his own pocket until the church where he was a minister started supporting it. That breakfast still runs now. My father's
What a legacy.
passed
What a
almost
legacy.
10 years ago. But he didn't have the internet when he started. So that infectious generosity, yes, it's been infectious. It has a legacy in that community. Yet, what if now that got shared and it inspired other communities to do the same?
Mm-hmm. That would be good. That would be good.
And so that's where I think AI and the internet can really spread
but the internet,
positive.
The internet, I'm distinguishing from AI.
Right, and they're two separate
Yeah,
things,
and so
although the internet does use
Yeah,
AI.
in the social media, you could, I guess it does. There you go, because it's going to tell who it goes to. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it'll deliver to the right people. I understand it. I don't like it.
Well, I do hope that if we've inspired you to pick up this book, you visit our bookstore at healthgeekspodcast.com or follow us on Instagram. Maybe we'll be sharing some acts of generosity there.
Yeah. And are we going to talk about this again? Because I have some more things I could say.
Let's keep talking.
Okay.
But next time.
Thank you, Carolyn, for tolerating me.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for
and
joining.
check out their bookstore. It's fabulous.
Thank you.
The views and opinions stated in this podcast are solely those of the contributors and are not necessarily those of our distributors or hosting company. This podcast is copyrighted, and no part can be reproduced without the express written consent of Kristen and Eleanor.